Phil Kessel is a free agent at the moment and is currently working out with the Canucks. Kessel is a 3-time Cup champion, has the longest NHL Ironman streak, and has played under both Jim Rutherford and Rick Tocchet before. But how much gas is left in the tank for this 36-year-old? Can Phil Kessel impact the Vancouver Canucks?
Right now, it's the most obvious spot, which is the Vancouver Canucks, currently skating with Abbotsford Canucks. He's in Abbotsford as we speak, by the way.
Yeah.
And the reason why this is pretty obvious is because assistant coach of the Penguins is Rick Tocchet, who's the Canucks head coach. Rick Tocchet. Who's the Canucks brass? Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford. Who was his brass in Pittsburgh? Patrick Allvin and Jim Rutherford. So there's a lot of ties.
It's not even a conspiracy at this point. Like, it's legit. It's like it's a trial, so it's not like he could still not sign because like, obviously, that's
they're gonna
fair.
see if he how shape and stuff he is.
But the thing is this, right? Like at this rate, like if you're a former Penguin under those guys,
former Penguin, non-Canadian, and a Milstein client.
Yeah, those are
because we only have 3 Canadians on the team. I think
those are the checklist. That is the checklist.
Swedish,
you have a chance of being a Canuck.
Yeah,
if that's the case.
No, okay. So Phil Kessel, it's weird, right? Because he ain't what he was in Toronto.
Oh yeah,
he ain't what he is in. What even was in Pittsburgh, and in Pittsburgh he's a third liner.
Yeah,
keep that in mind. For the Vegas Golden Knights, he played in the regular season because of his Ironman streak and all that stuff was involved with it. But he only played, I think, 4 games in the playoffs.
Yeah, he wasn't
involved.
So
all those fans in general, so it has Canucks fans confused. I'm sure it has you confused. It has me confused, right? There's 2 aspects. I'm going to talk about the on ice and then I'll talk about the off ice. We will. On ice wise, the idea of Phil Kessel against next to PD makes a lot of sense because he's he's a Hall of Famer. He's a 3-time Cup champion. He's one of the greatest goal scorers with a great shot. He could shoot from anywhere and score type of thing. Yeah, he might not be good as this guy right here, Alex Ovechkin, but he's up there, right? The guy doesn't look like he's in shape, but he's obviously in shape. He wouldn't be in the NHL otherwise. But that's not Phil Kessel. That's like me saying the Lakers Carmelo Anthony got was the same Carmelo Anthony that was on the Knicks, or even the Thunder for that 1 year on the Thunder or whatever he was, right? This isn't the same guy. So that's where it's confusing because, like, obviously Jake Gensel, who by the way got injured, so Pittsburgh might be in trouble. They lost, and they might lose a trade asset, right?
Yeah.
It's not like he's Jake Gensel. Like Jake Gensel, who's rumored to go to the Oilers, which would be scary, by the way.
Yeah, no.
But is it like he ain't that guy? Like he's not a top 6 in this league anymore. He might not even be a top 12 in this league anymore. Like he might be just the extra forward that needs to be a depth piece, kind of like what Jonathan Quick was before he joined the Rangers.
Bro, there's no point of like, he is not that guy. He's not. There's no potential. There's no this. He might not be. He isn't.
Yeah.
He just isn't simply that guy anymore.
Yeah.
And it was clear last year. There was one reason he was playing for Vegas, was the Ironman.
The regular season.
Yeah.
Specifically.
And the regular season. So like when it came to playoff time,
he didn't play much.
He didn't play, and
he's still a defensive liability.
Exactly.
He's gonna be slow.
Yeah, like if you're saying the idea of Phil Kessel. Yeah, no. Like,
this is what the Canucks need. The idea of Phil Kessel.
The idea of Phil Kessel is great.
Yeah.
But not Phil Kessel. Off ice is obviously incredible, right?
So
you have
off ice,
you have a 3-time Cup champion,
not
right?
even just that.
You have a veteran experienced guy.
Okay.
Right.
Not just that, but keep continuing.
Playoff experience.
Not just that, but keep continuing.
I think that's all I got.
Okay, so this is what I got.
Yeah.
He's apparently a great teammate. Right? Obviously that's all included.
Yeah.
Clayton Keller, the time he was in Arizona, not Clayton Keller, Kessel, said like, you want this guy in the locker room. He's jokes. We've seen the
he's so jokes.
How was it?
The breath.
The
like,
breath.
Your breath's not good. He's like,
yeah, my breath's not
like, how's your breath? He's like, yeah, stinks, eh?
Yeah, that. There was I think there was the hot dog meat that just keeps running out, that he ate a bunch of hot dogs or whatever. So you're gonna have a guy who has a personality, which you kind of lost with Kuzmenko, but again, this guy comes with experience. You're gonna have a guy that jokes around. You're gonna have a guy that helps, who loves the game, who will be around, and it's a guy that now this will benefit Kessel. It's kind of like what Zach Parise did. Instead of going through half the season and having wear and tear on your body, you're gonna be joining afresh, essentially. Like you're not gonna be fully worn out.
You'll be joining fresh, which is fair. Which I agree, but you also might be joining rusty as well.
True, but that's why you come in during the regular season. Again, like, is it that enough to take a roster spot up, right? is he gonna keep playing in Abbotsford and you're gonna call him up and he could be a mentor to the guys in Abbotsford as well? Again, people are saying his value off the ice might be incredible. We saw Udonis Haslem. I said about Thad Young in the past. The difference is in basketball, those guys could occupy a spot on the bench and stay
they just
there.
sit there, yeah.
NHL, I guess you could have a 13th forward. You could have a 7th defenseman scratched. So they're still involved with the first team, but they're up in the press box.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, fair game, right? But the problem is, like, unless you're gonna trade other pieces out, which like Mikheyev needs probably you. In my opinion, the Canucks still need a guy with Pettersson. Lindholm is gonna figure his stuff out, which is why you trade for him early. I'm not giving up on Lindholm like some people might be like, oh, Kuzmenko's doing this. Kuzmenko's in a whole different situation. Calgary is
killing
like,
it. Calgary's
it's
killing it.
literally Boudreaux hockey, just free for all.
Yeah.
Huberdeau's doing better now as well, right? The point here is though, the Canucks still need another guy that could help with Pettersson because McKinnon has Rantanen. Crosby had Gensel. McDavid has Hyman, right? And I'm not even including the guys that could still pair with, for example.
You can still Chuck and Malkin with Crosby.
And then obviously, if Landeskog was healthy, you could Chuck and that's
Draisaitl.
Draisaitl with McDavid. PD, this could hurt his free agency because he's a bit like, you guys are changing my line mates constantly, right? The line that worked, the Swedish line worked the other day, like as good as Hoglander is. But can you upgrade? Sure. If you can't, I get it, you bring in Kessel. Because like you said, I feel like the off-ice stuff benefits a lot. This is definitely a Tocchet, I'm going to say higher, but a Tocchet approved thing as well.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Rutherford and Alvin love him. Tocchet definitely loves him. So you'll have that piece that like Tocchet, it's not just Tocchet talking about it. It's like, hey, there's a player that has been there and done that. I think the only guy in the Canucks that has been there and done that is Ian Cole, right?
Yeah.
Who was on that Pittsburgh regime?
And then Tampa Bay as well.
And then Teddy Bluger won it last year with Vegas.
And then Bluger.
Right? So
yeah.
I guess my thoughts on Phil Kessel coming, if he does ultimately sign, I won't have issues with it, but the problem is if you're saying that Phil Kessel is going to come in and score like 30 goals, or like prorate that, let's just say he scores like 12 goals.
Yeah.
No. You probably won't barely see the ice, and if that's the case. But that's my thoughts. Like if you bring him in, great. It's great. It's for the off ice stuff, which is very valuable. You need that someone.
Oh yeah,
like
you need that for sure.
But if you're thinking of it like if you're strictly looking at it for on ice, you're gonna be disappointed. Canucks fans are gonna be like, why do we have Phil Kessel here, right? So
yeah, will be.
That's the thing. So if he does sign, just don't get your hopes up, Canucks fans. Like he's gonna be
the
old Phil Kessel.